tell you a story. There was a girl, let's call her Rose, who had been overweight since her toddler years. In every childhood photo she had, her jeans were either rolled up, not because she was short, but because her mom had to buy bigger sizes to fit her waist. And everybody said probably it's just baby fat or maybe she had big bones. But the weight never really went away even as she grew older. And at 18, she weighed over 136 kg. And that was even the biggest part of it. She was the biggest student in our school and she had to try everything, diet, exercise, even willpower. Nothing worked. So with her family support, she was able to go through gastric bypass surgery, and which was a rare opportunity at that time. This is just a surgical procedure that involves restructuring the stomach in order to reduce the nutrient absorption. So in 6 months, she lost about 81 kg. And she went on, graduated nursing school, got married, and had children. But eventually, the weight started coming back in. And she weighed about 20 kg later. And that was not the only part of it. She started doing all she could, but with all these experiences, nothing worked. And she concludes that living with obesity is like living with diabetes. You have to plan every meal. Even on vacation, you have to, be careful of what to eat, what not to eat, and the likes. It's an everyday gradual process or gradual solution for her to take. And by medical standard, even with all that, she's still labeled as being obese. But she's healthy, strong, and proud, and that's what really matters. So hello, beautiful people. Welcome once again to Living Well. And in this space, we'll be talking about where we grew, or how we can grow, learn, and become more intentional about our health. So I'm your host, Victoria Oyekami, your friendly neighborhood dietitian and wellness advocate. And I'm so glad you've tuned in today. So if you're joining us for the first time, you're very much welcome. And to our returning listeners, you already know it's always a pleasure to have you back. So now, today's episode is one in many of us can relate to, whether personally or through someone we love. And so we're talking about overweight and obesity, not just as the numbers on the scale, but as real life stories, struggles, and strategies. So in a world where slim is often seen as success and weight is often misunderstood as, somebody that is not healthy, I want us to shift this conversation and let's talk fat. Let's not shame or not just about the sizes. Let's talk about the health. So grab your water, get comfortable, and let's dive in together. You might just hear something today that changes your perspective or your life. Before we proceed, let's dissect what obesity is all about. What is overweight? What is obesity? What do we even talk about? Or what do we mean when we start using the word overweight or obesity? So when you talk about overweight or obesity, this happens when a person has more body fat than is usually considered healthy for their height or their age. That is, it's not just about the size or appearance, it's about the amount of fat tissue that the body is storing, and more importantly, where that fat is stored and how it affects the person. So one common tool that we use to estimate or to determine if a person is overweight or obese is called the BMI, or the body mass index scale. And this compares the person's height to the person's weight. So if you've taken your weight on a weight scale and the weight is being compared to the height, the mathematics is done. Once your BMI is 25 to 29.9, you're said to be overweight. But once that figure moves on to 30 milligrams or moves to 30 and above, you are said to be obese. And so BMI is just like a rough guide. It doesn't really tell us everything, like how much of this weight is fat versus muscles, or where the fat is stored. And that is why we have other conditions beyond the weight or the scale that tells us, or that gives us a full picture of what is actually happening to the person. So many people think that the weight alone, what you see on the scale, tells you whether you're overweight or you're at risk of different health problems that is associated with obesity. But that's not the full picture. There are other conditions or factors that also matter as much as the weight on the scale. And we'll be looking at some of these factors or some of these conditions to tell us that it's not just about the weight on the scale. The first one is the size of your waist, just above the belly button, or the size of your waist around the abdomen. This is where fat distribution is usually common. And so where you carry your fat is sometimes more important than how much fat you have. For instance, fat around the belly, which is usually called the belly fat or visceral fat, surrounds vital organs and is more dangerous than fat in other parts of the body like the arms or the thigh. So a very large waist circumference increases your risk of diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and even insulin resistance. So even if your BMI is normal and you have excess fat or excess belly fat, then you should know that you're at risk of different conditions. So for example, if you take the waist measurements, you get a tape rule in your house and you take the tape rule around your waist, just like we usually do at the tailor's shop. You take the waist measurements and you read your value, especially in centimeters or inches. For instance, for women, if you take the tape rule round and you read the value and you're getting above 80 centimeters, then you should know that you are at moderate risk of the disease conditions associated with obesity. But once the tape rule is even going beyond 88 centimeters or 35 inches, you should know that you're at high risk of getting the conditions that are related to obesity. And for men, same thing. Once you take the tape rule around your waist and you're able to take the measurements, you should know that any waist that is over 102 centimeters puts you at higher risk of obesity related complications. So even if your weight on the scale is fine, if the weight around your waist is heavy, then you are at risk of different complications of obesity. The second point is your lifestyle. Weight gain doesn't happen in vacuum. So your daily habits also play a huge role. Even if the weight on your scale is normal, if you have your daily habits that are fighting against your body, like lack of physical inactivity, you have bad habits towards your meals, you do not sleep appropriately, or you stress yourself, you put yourself under stress, you're going to be exposing yourself to central obesity. For instance, if you put yourself under chronic stress, when you are under stress triggers an hormone called cortisol, which elevates the production of cortisols. Once there is elevated cortisols in your blood, this increases your risk or increases hunger, or cravings. You begin to crave for foods, especially foods that are high in fats or carbs. All these are processed foods. And when that happens, when you begin to crave for this food and you begin to eat them, you will tend to add weight unnecessarily. And these weights are usually stored around the belly fat, because that is one thing cortisol does. Cortisol ensures that, or when the body tries to eliminate cortisol through the momentum, which is where the fat around the belly is being stored, when that happens, this increases fat production or fat storage around the belly, and it also increases your risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, and the likes. So all these lifestyles, when you're smoking, taking alcohol can affect or impact metabolism and fat storage. So if all this happens, even if your weight is on the scale is normal and you are indulging yourself in all this lifestyle that could affect you or your health, then you should know that you are at risk of obesity complicated issues. But a person who eats mostly whole foods, exercise well, sleeps well, and manage stress, even if they are heavier on the scale, they may actually be healthier than someone with a lower weight but poor lifestyle habits. Another thing is genetics, which is your blueprint. Genetics influence your body shape, your metabolism, fat storage, and even your hormones. So some people are genetically predisposed to gain weight more easily or to carry more fat in certain areas like the belly or the hips or even the arms, while others don't necessarily need to carry weight like that because of your genetics. So this means that even with your genetics, it doesn't mean that your weight is completely out of control. You can still control everything that goes on with your body and your weight by having a moderate or a sound lifestyle that could help you to control all these. Another thing is age. Age is another thing that determines if you're going to be faced with different obesity complications. Everything with age changes the whole matter. You know, as people age or get older, the way their body handles fat, when weight or health changes everything. Like, and you cannot compare an elderly person to a younger person when it comes to the weight on the scale or their BMI. As one grows or as one ages, the body naturally becomes less efficient at burning calories, so which leads to gradual weight gain that is often seen with elderly. But this is not a bad sign or a sign that their health is bad or bad health. On the flip side, too much weight loss in the elderly can be dangerous. This can lead to poor immunity, frailty, or elder risk of falls or fractures that we talked about in our last episode with our elderly. And so that is why as elderly, even if your BMI is maybe above 25, maybe between 25 to 27, it's still considered healthy for you. And it doesn't have to be necessarily be below 25 that everybody talks about, because even research has shown that elderly people with slightly higher weights, not obese, tend to live longer than those who are underweight or very thin. So a bit of extra weight or extra fat for the elderly might be helpful, but not too much, not in excess to the extent that they now become overweight. So other health conditions can also add to being overweight. Like we said, it's not just the numbers on the scale. For instance, medication, some drugs, some drugs, even hypothyroidism, some hormonal issues, PCOS, Cushing syndrome, insulin resistance, all these can affect how the body stores fat. Medications like steroids, antidepressants, all these things can also cause weight gain. So when you see somebody checking their weights, and don't just judge them by what is on the scale, you should know that different things can be happening to the person, and all these things need to be looked into, not doing it in isolation. So what all this means, all that we've been talking about, it means that we need to stop looking at weight alone when we talk about health. Instead, we must look at it in the full picture. Where is this fat stored? How are the habits or the routine of this person? What does this person do on a regular basis? Are there other health conditions or medications involved? What is the person's genetic background? What does it suggest? So after all this, you know that the question now is this person healthy or not? And that is all that matters. And another question I want to ask is that who should actually lose weight? Is it everybody that their weight is alarming on the scale that should lose weight? Who should actually lose weight? Not everyone is classified as overweight. That is by a BMI of 25 to 29.9 should be considered or alarming or necessarily need to lose weight. Weight loss is only advised if certain health risks are present. And one major sign that this person needs to lose weight is the belly fat. Like I said earlier, the waist around the circumference, or the waist circumference, I mean. So beyond that weight, if somebody has a larger belly fat, like we've talked about and how you can measure it, that person needs to actually lose weight. So another thing, or obesity risk factors for people who need to lose weight, is if there is high blood pressure accompanying that overweight, then you need to consider losing weight. If there is high blood pressure, if there is high bad cholesterol in your blood, you need to do a blood test to be able to know if there is high blood cholesterol or low blood or the low good cholesterol, which is the HDL. If it's lower than the recommended, then the person needs to lose weight. If there is high blood glucose or diabetes, if there is family history of early heart disease, or if there is lack of physical activity, or if there's smoking, now the person needs to lose weight. But if you are still within that overweight category and you do not have any of these issues, no high blood pressure, no high blood sugar, no the HDL is not too low, is not low, the LDL is not high. If there's all these factors and the person has good physical activity schedule, no smoking and the likes, then the person might not necessarily need to lose weight. All we should be after is how to be healthy or to maintain that health. But if all these things are present, then you should consider losing weight. Then finally, regarding your BMI, it's not about a certain size, like I said, or whether your weight is, but the question should be if that your weight is putting you at health risk. And so without any other conditions, what you should focus on is healthy habits, like improving your diet, being active, quit smoking. So when we understand all these things, then we should know that we move away from judgments or quick fixes towards personalized and compassionate care. And I also want us to know that not everyone who is big is actually unhealthy, and not everyone who is slim is healthy. The real issue is how the extra weight affects our organs, our blood sugar, heart, and joints. So, back to Rosie's story that we started with earlier. Why does this even matter? Because being overweight or obesity isn't just about overeating alone. It's not about laziness or lack of willpower. It's not just about the food that we all talk about. It is a complex condition shaped by different factors or multiple factors, sometimes beyond our control. Like Rose, for instance, you can see that she tried all she could, everything to lose weight, but eventually, as time went on, even though at first she lost quite a number of weights, but we can see that eventually this weight came back in. And there was also a point in that story that she went on a vacation with her family and they all gained weight. You know, vacation, sometimes you cannot control your meals because you're eating out and the likes. She and her husband gained weight, and her husband, by the time they went back home, her husband lost about 5 kg in 2 weeks. But for Rose, she could not even lose 3 kg in about 1 month. That shows that the body is different, and sometimes it's beyond maybe the food or what we can control. Even though eventually, as time goes on, when you begin to know your body, to study your body, you'll be able to learn how to control all these factors that affect your weight. So from Rosie's story, we also somehow can be faced with these challenges that no matter what we do in order to lose weight, we still keep getting back this weight, or if we lose it at first, eventually we come back to this weight, or the weight returns, sometimes even much worse than we started with. So many of us face these issues. And what are the reasons why this happens? So that's what I want to discuss now. What are the reasons why, even though we try to lose weight in everything that we do and eventually we gain back the weight? The first thing is metabolic adaptation, which is sometimes called adaptive thermogenesis. And this just means that when you lose weight too quickly, that like we usually do, you know, we're always in a hurry, we want to lose 10 kg in 2 weeks. And so this happens too often among people. So when you lose your weight too quickly, your body thinks that you are starving. You know, like it happens during the time of our forefathers. Your body thinks that you are starving, and then it slows down metabolism in order to save energy. So your body is saving more energy. Whereas it doesn't know that you are trying to lose weight by starving yourself. So your body thinks that starvation, there's famine, and so your body is trying to save more energy. And so in that process, instead of now losing the weight, you begin to gain more. Even though at first you might lose it, but eventually the weight comes back in. And that is because your body tries to adapt to the situation, that it doesn't know that you put yourself intentionally in that situation. And what can we do? If we try losing weight and the weight keep coming back, the thing is to just take it gradual instead of drastic weight loss that we all run after. The best thing is to do it gradually so that we can give our body time to adjust or adapt to the situation. Like instead of just cutting off your calorie or restricting yourself to restricting some nutrients out of your food, it's better to take it gradually. Do it slowly and steadily. That is only when we can see the effects, or that is when we can know that this our weight loss will not come back. But when we do the drastic weight loss scheme that everybody is after, this weight will come back. Another thing is we call something the set point theory. This is your body has a set point weight is naturally want to stay. Everybody has a set point theory that your body says, this is where I want to stay, this is the weight I want to stay. So this set point theory, once you try, that's why if you try what you can to lose weight, eventually you see your body takes it back to that weight you started from. It's because of the set point theory. But that too can be changed slowly and steadily. You can also change your set point theory if you do not rush your body. If you give your body time to adjust to your new lifestyle of trying to lose weight, you can change your set point theory. But if you are going after yo-yo dieting, like you're going after all this our diets, different diet schemes that you want to quickly lose weight so that or you want to quickly see results, the body will fight back, the body will push back, and then you're going to gain back all these weights that you're trying to lose. Also, hormonal changes, extreme weight loss or extreme dieting can disrupt key hormones that regulate appetite, stress, and the likes. And when this happens, if you lose weight so harshly, it's going to backfire and stress your body, and then your body will start, working against you. Another thing that happens is our environment. The environment that we find ourselves can also shape our choices, especially if you're in a neighborhood where fast food is everywhere, or you don't feel safe exercising outdoors or making healthy change or doing all these likes. Making healthy changes can become very harder. So this can also be a factor that affects how we lose weight. Imagine trying all you could in order to lose weight and your environment is saying something else. Fast food is everywhere around the streets. You want to get fruits and vegetables, but before you even get to the shop where they sell fruit and vegetables, you already passed through 10 kiosks selling processed food. That is the way environments can shape our decisions towards our health. And all we can do is just to be disciplined. And once we know that this is what is fighting against you, then you'll be able to win the battle by being disciplined and taking decisions or those behavioral changes that will help our life or that will save our life beyond just trying to get fast results that eventually leads to, weight gain that we're trying to avoid. Another thing is you need follow-up, accountability. If you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to do it by yourself, eventually you could get tired, you could lose motivation and, just accept fate as it is. But you need accountability. You need somebody that can help you. It could be a medical professional, it could be your dietitian, it could be your nutritionist, it could even be your family, your friend, somebody that you can account to, that can help you, that can keep up with you with that your weight loss schedule that you are trying to follow, so that eventually this person can help you out even when you are trying to lose motivation. Aging is also a factor that we have talked about and the likes. And what are now other habits that we indulge in that can affect our weight? This is very funny, but sometimes you know that if you are living in a place that's a very cold area, for instance, maybe inside AC 24/7, inside AC, there is a way that this AC mimics cold weather. And what does it do? It triggers hunger. And once you are hungry, you begin to crave for foods that are high in carbs or fats. And with this, you can begin to gain weight. But another thing is that if you try to watch it, even living in a cold area can also help you lose weight in another way. Because in a cold area, the body it increases metabolism. And, the body tries to keep up so that it will keep you warm. So it's two ways. You either lose weight in a cold area or you gain weight. You lose weight if you do not yield to that cravings, that since the hunger is triggered, you do not yield to it, you lose your weight. But if because of the weather is cold, you stay in an AC 24/7, you begin to crave food, you begin to eat more, and with this you tend to gain more weight. So watch the environment you find yourself, the environment you are in. This can in a way affect your weight gain. Another thing, habits that keeps the weight on is when you are eating while distracted, eating mindlessly, watching television or scrolling through your phone. With this, you eat more than necessary. You don't even know when you have finished the food on your plate if you are eating mindlessly by pressing your phone or anything like that. All these things lead to weight gain that we do not know about. Also, when the size of your plate is too big, when you eat with a bigger size of plate, you tend to eat more. So if you want to control your weight gain, try to eat with smaller plates. When you eat with smaller plates, you are able to control the quantity of food you are eating. Another thing is poor sleep. Poor sleep leads to weight gain, because when you don't sleep well, your body is stressed, and once your body is stressed, cortisol is released, like I said earlier, and cortisol can lead to cravings, and with cravings you tend to gain weight. So sleep appropriately. 7 hours is not too much and it's not too small. 7 to 8 hours, at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep is recommended. Sleep early also, and sleep on time, so that the body can be able to heal and you will not disrupt the hormonal balance. The skipping meals is another thing that affects our weight. When we skip meals, for instance, you do not eat breakfast or lunch or anything like that, you skip that meal. By the time you want to eat, you tend to overeat. And when you overeat, you will also tend to gain more weight, even if you are eating the same calorie of food every day. But if you eat all the calories you're supposed to eat in 4 meals or 3 meals, if you eat it in 1 meal, you are going to gain weight. So try to split your food evenly: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even in between meals if you are very hungry. Also, drinking carbonated drinks, sodas, juice, alcohol, all this, there's a way you drink, you don't even get satisfied with drinking. You can drink multiple bottles of whatever it is you are drinking, and that is actually adding to your calorie store. If you drink more than is required, you're going to gain weight, and you won't know, because it's juice, it's fruit, it's juice or anything like that. You won't know that you're actually adding more. So you need to eliminate or reduce the things that you drink. Soda, even fruit juices, they are becoming sugars and everything like that, additives. You need to reduce it in order to watch your weight. And also, there are also environments where you find yourself in. Even your house, what are you loading in your fridge? What is in your refrigerator? If your refrigerator is packed with different unhealthy food, that is what you're going to tend towards eating. So in order to control your weight, you need to make sure that in your house, where at least you might not be able to control your external environment, the shops around you, but your house, what do you have in your house? What you have in your house will also determine if you're going to lose weight or you're going to gain it. So make sure you keep healthy foods around you in your refrigerator that will help you to gain weight. So to round up, what are the 5 golden rules to weight management? In order to manage your weight, what are the things that we can do that will help us, or that we need to live by? The first thing is, our body is unique. So not everybody will come up with the same body size, even if you eat the same way or you exercise the same way. So we need to understand your body. Once you understand what works for you, then stick to it. If it's eating 3 times in a day that works for you, stick to it. Don't try to restrict yourself because other people are doing it, then you want to do it. Know your body and know what works for you. Then secondly, small changes matters. Even if it's a weight loss of 10% of your initial weight, it goes a long way. You don't have to cut yourself to half just to lose weight. 10% can reduce the different risk of diabetes, hypertension, all these things. Just a 10% weight loss can reduce it. So it doesn't have to be the huge, heavy changes that we are all after. Then the third rule is that understand the 3,500 rule. If you should reduce your meal by just 300 calories of your meal, if you should take it out from your food, you are going to, and you do that consistently for like 24 days, even just reducing your meal by 300 calories, you are going to lose 1 kg. Now imagine now adding physical activity to that, you're going to lose a lot. So small gradual changes that is consistent can actually help you to lose weight. Also, choose moderation, not starvation. Don't try to starve yourself because you want to lose weight. When you do this, extreme dieting does not work. It doesn't even work. Eventually you're going to disrupt the body pattern, the hormonal pattern. You disrupt it, and this will eventually lead to weight gain. Then you need to exercise. Exercise cannot be overemphasized. Move more. Anywhere you find yourself, instead of sitting, stand. Instead of standing, move. Keep moving. By the time you do all these things, you're going to gradually and steadily lose weight, and this weight you'll not be afraid that the weight is going to come back. It is definitely going to stay. So before I go, like I said, beyond the scale, check your body weight beyond the scale. Now this picture, you will see that this is a 1990 suggested weight guideline for everybody, in case you do not know how to do the BMI calculation to calculate what your weight is. This guideline will help you to see where you fall or where you belong. All you need is your height. Once you take the measurement, your height measurement, you can use a tape rule to take the height measurement and your weight. Once you do this, you check the guidelines above. With this, you'll be able to see where you fall. So if your weight is beyond what is on the guideline for your recommended age, yes, this guideline is works with age as well. So if your weight goes beyond that, then you know that you need to make some lifestyle changes that will help you to reduce your weight or to bring your weight back to the expected weight that you need. So use this chart as your guide to reflect on your current habits and take the next step towards living well. And that will also be our activity for the week, or our challenge for the week. Try and check with your age and your weight and your height where you fall or where you belong. And if there's any adjustments that you need to make, you go ahead and make it with the chart on your screen. And so with this, I hope you'll be able to know that it goes beyond the number of the scale, and do not panic or fidget once you see that you're already maybe getting even overweight. The most important thing is that you're healthy even with your current weight. And as we begin to move on in this series, we'll be talking about all the other factors too, like your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and all the things that you can do that can help you to maintain a healthy blood sugar range or blood pressure range. And next week, or in our next episode, we'll be looking at how we can maintain a healthy blood sugar range. So next week is all about our blood sugar, and see you again on this channel or on this station next week. Do have a wonderful day.